Hello everyone. Previous video we saw how to actually spit out things from a loop. In this video we're gonna simply enter stuff in the loop. It's a bit more complicated. It's not really complicated, it's actually easy. The way to do it, I'm gonna delete all of that. Okay, so I'm gonna say that during runtime we are actually going to assign values to the loop. So I'm gonna even delete this just for your for your understanding. So firstly we're gonna input values into the array. Input into array, and next I'm gonna say output from array. When I want to input, I'm gonna say for int I is equal to 0, right? And the next step, because okay, we start at 0 because the first index is always 0. Then I'm gonna say I is not equal to 11. Okay, you can also say is smaller than equal to 11. Not smaller than 11, but I love to use not equal to. Next I'm gonna say I plus plus. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cin. Alright, at cin would be let me just create a variable called int x. Now I'm gonna say cin x. Alright, and once cin x actually happens, alright, so once I actually cin into x, then I want to go to the array. Okay, this value that I input will be stored in x, so I want to go into array and I want to access the element at the I position, which would be the first element would be 0. So I'm going to access the first element in the array and I'm going to make it equal to x. Okay, now if you look confused, I'm going to do it again. Let me just do it simply. Alright, so a few videos back what I did is, if I wanted to make I equal array of the first element, I want to assign the first index of the array, or the first element of the array I want to assign a certain number to, so say 55. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it like this. Okay, so now the first element inside of the array is 55. So let me just show you. For example, if I make this equal to that and I'm going to make this 55, by the way, let's make it for simplicity, I'm going to make this one memory location. Okay, so now a0, which is the first element inside of the array, I'm going to make it equal to 5. So I'm going to say now cout array, the first element in the array. Alright, now if I see this cout, you're going to see that this is actually 5. So it has actually changed the 55 into a 5. Okay, if you don't believe me, I can just comment this code out and you can see that it was 55 previously and I changed it into 5. Now when this shouldn't surprise you when I put this for loop in, because when I'm cinning, I'm entering the x and I'm getting user input. Now the array would be the array at the ith position, basically would be 0 in the first run. So it basically is saying that I replace the 5 with x, so the cin would be x. If I had a cin here as well, cin x, then I can also go in here and I can say x like that. Okay, simple. But since I'm not doing that, I'm cin here in the loop, so I'm gonna put it here. Now instead of putting 0, because this is a loop, this is actually dynamic, so 0 it wouldn't, I don't want 0 to change all the time, or the first element to change all the time. I want to actually change the first element, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, then the fifth, then the sixth, then the sixth. So that's why I'm going to put I here, because this is a loop. I is continuously changing, and the loop is going to terminate when I is equal to 11. So this loop will run 11 times. That's why I'm going to make this 11 and I'm going to make this like that. Alright, and now for every element or every iteration inside this loop, I'm going to ask x, or I'm going to put input x, and x is going to be in there, entered in there. So if I actually come in out here and I actually I'm gonna that's okay. So basically what's this gonna do is this is going to input x, but here is something. I can actually go ahead and make this code a lot more simpler by, instead of having this intermediate variable called x, right, let me just delete that. I can directly say, instead of x, I can directly put this there. This would work perfectly fine as well. And since this would work perfectly fine, I'm going to remove these as well, or remove these inverted, or these curly braces, right? So because it's only one line in the for loop. Alright, so that's how you input. Now once I output, how do you output? Well, same way, just like the previous video, int I is equal to 0, I not equal to 11. And by the way, this comes from practice, so you have to practice this. You have to code it out yourself, not only watch tutorials. Alright, and of course C out IR, array, the elements of array. Alright, with index I. Now what I'm gonna do is, this is gonna keep on inputting until the 11th element. Let's make it not 11, make it 5 elements, alright, for simplicity. 5, and even here I'm gonna change 5. Right, and I'm gonna run it now. So it's gonna ask me input. So I'm just gonna input 1, I'm gonna input 3, I'm gonna input 6, 7, 8, 5. So you can see we inputted 5, 1, 2. Okay, that was a mistake. I pressed double enter, that's why it didn't capture that, but okay. 1, 3. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values, and once it was done getting 5 values, it actually outputted for us these 5 values that are inside the array. Alright, so that's what it is, simple as that. That's how you can input through an array, and you can output from an array in C++.